Well, yet another special episode here in deer season 22. To say that Forrest and I have had a storybook season would be an absolute huge understatement, because we have had a season of all seasons, the best I've ever had in my career, and we've just been absolutely humbled and blessed to be hunting the deer that we've been hunting. This one is really the icing on the cake, if you will. It's a story about a deer that we've been after for 3 years, or have really dedicated just an inordinate amount of time and energy and effort into one particular animal. And I don't know, in my entire career, I've only had 1 or 2 other deer that we were consumed with and obsessed with. Every waking moment was about this deer, how we were going to kill this deer, where we had to go, on what wind direction, what access, to moving blinds, to hanging stands, to trimming stands, to strategically placing Reconyx cameras all over a farm, just trying to get pictures of this deer and figure out his pattern and where he was moving to and from, and what times of the day he was moving to and from, where he was bedding, where he was feeding. Dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures of him, but we literally only laid eyes on him twice in all that time. Which, you know, a lot of people think there's an unfair advantage to having a camera and studying pictures, and in certain cases that may be the case. In this case, it was not. I mean, he was the most random walking deer we've ever seen. No matter what we did, and no matter how hard we tried, it always seemed like we were 2 steps behind Junkie. Well, in addition to all of that, all the work and all the time and all the effort that went into hunting Junkie, Forrest logged miles and miles upon miles trying to pick up his shed antlers each and every spring, just trying to figure out where he was bedding and where he was feeding, and just another piece to that puzzle. And you know, when you walk miles like that, it's such a great reward when you do finally find the antler, and it's even a better reward whenever you finally get that particular animal on the ground.
Well, the sun is setting there. It is a heck of an evening. Been walking. I'm at like 7.5 miles today, and been walking like 20, I think I'm at 26 miles looking for a particular deer, and I just found one of his sides. He is a tank. Good gosh, that's a big shed. Wow. I'm jacked. Here's our #1 target for next year, deer we call Junkie. Man, he's a stud. Man, that base is perfect. He's a giant. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Terry doesn't like people yelling in the timber, but I could shout right now.
We got 1 deer that we've been after, deer we call Junkie. We got 1 deer that we're after, and he's been giving us the slip. We've got 1 deer in particular that we have strategized, planned, plotted, and literally have given and donated all of our brain time, brain trust to. We got 1 deer in mind, and he's really been giving us a slip. So we got 1 deer in mind that we're looking for. We got 1 or 2 bucks in mind, and Junkie gave us the slip early this morning. Ready? We got a deer here we've been hunting a couple years. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of luck this morning. We're really after 1 buck. If he shows up, we may be in the catbird seat. If not, why? It's just another day in the woods. Just another day in the woods. Just another day in the woods. Well, it wasn't Junkie, but it's Batman. We had two deer that we were looking for, and he's one of them. We sat this morning in a spot where I thought we might see him. We had 2 bucks in mind. This one, another deer we call Junkie. He is a ghost. We've been hunting that deer for 3 years. I've got 4 sheds off of him. Everything we plan over here is for that deer. Let the world know, baby. We just killed Junkie. Yes. Oh my yes. Gosh. My word. This is truly one of the most fulfilling stories we will ever tell. I'm going to let Forrest tell you the story about Junkie.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by Hawk, designed for those who push their limits to hunt stronger, safer, and smarter. Hunt from above.
We got a trail cam picture of a deer on February 11th of 2020, and that's really what started this journey with the deer we call Junkie. He didn't have a name then. He just was a real pretty deer. He was run down the end of the year. We'd put these cameras out right after deer season there, just trying to kind of get some MRI and figure out who made it through, what deer were around. And we got this picture and we're like, man, that's a pretty nice buck. We'll see what hopefully shows up this fall. And went over, shed hunted a little bit and wasn't able to pick up a shed off of him. And later on in the summer there, late June, early July, we got those Reconyx cameras out and running. And what do you know, one of the first deer that shows up, July 3rd, we got a picture of a deer, big split G1s. He wasn't very developed right away, but there he was. As the summer rolled on, we just kept getting more and more pictures of him. It was really fun watching him develop. Those big main beams sweeping up, real heavy, good mass, those split G1s, just a really, really cool looking deer. And going into the fall, he was our #1 target. Well, we hunted him pretty hard that fall, and sometime throughout the October time frame there, we were getting more pictures of him, and we're like, man, we need a name for this deer. And I think it was Terry came up with the name Junkie because he had split G1s, and he had a little kicker that year, and his G4 on the one side was split, so just a really cool looking deer. And we were just having some trouble running into him, and little did we know that was going to continue for years to come. Well, finally on December 3rd, it was Illinois' second shotgun season. We finally laid eyes on him for the first time. It was a really, really long range, quick encounter. He was about 500 yards, way up on the far end of a big alfalfa field there. He's out in front of the yellow box. Junkie's out in front of the yellow box. I'm pretty sure that's him. And we just watched him. It was a real frosty morning, real pretty, and just watched him walk across that field. And that was the only time we saw him in the fall of 2020. Well, one thing I absolutely love doing almost as much as actually deer hunting is shed hunting. So going into the spring of 2021 there, one thing I love to do is put on those miles, burn a little bit of boot leather and try to pick up those antlers. And as luck would have it, went over there March 15th, and the first shed of the day was his left side there. Just real heavy. I picked it up and I was like, gosh dang, that's a big shed. Just real nice. Broke off a little bit there, but just a really, really nice shed. And then as luck would have it, a little bit later in the day, I was able to find a shed off of him from the previous year. As you can see, the squirrels chewed it. It's kind of a miracle because the squirrels seem to tear the sheds up real bad over there. But pretty cool to be able to pick up one side off him from each year in the same day. There in the middle of June, we started putting those Reconyx cell cameras out. And on June 22nd, we got the first picture of him, those big split G1s. He wasn't very developed very far, but by those G1s, we knew it was him. Junkie was back. Well, going into the fall of 2021, he was our #1 target deer. And man, we really figured out this deer is walking a ton. We were getting his pictures all over the farm, and he would daylight all the time, but there was no rhyme or reason to anywhere he was going. He just liked to walk. Well, we went over there. Junkie was our #1 target deer, and we were finally able to run into him on November 3rd. We had a phenomenal encounter. Unfortunately, it just didn't end the way we wanted it to.
Keep our fingers crossed. If we have any luck, maybe we'll see that shooter tonight and get a shot at him. That's the goal. We got Junkie, and then we got another deer that we really haven't named him, so I don't know what we're gonna name him. Forrest, maybe. That'd be a good name for a deer. Forest Fire.
He's gonna walk right in front of us. Open this. Hold on. He just saw the decoy. I may have to shoot it out there. I know, I'm not sure.
shoulda, right there. Well, there's our boy. That's the deer we came in after, right there. We call him Junkie. And he couldn't have came in a worse spot. Literally. We're set up for this window, this window, this window. And he came in behind us here. And literally at 15 steps, 20 steps tops. And there was just really no way of getting on him. He stopped out there, and I was desperately trying to get a range on him, and I couldn't. I don't know. I tagged him one time at 53, but just couldn't get on him. Any place else other than right here, I believe we'd had an opportunity, but it just didn't work out. But that's the boy we came after right there. We made the right call, right decision of where to go. And that's 20 minutes to 4. Literally, 20 minutes to 4. So we made the right call to come in here. Just didn't work out, unfortunately.
Well, that encounter with him, absolute giant, walks up right behind the blind where we least expected it from, and it was absolutely deflating. It really took the wind out of our sails. We've been having a good year, and to finally run into our #1 target deer and not get him dead when he's standing there at 16 yards, it really was a swift blow. Well, fall 2021, we tagged out over there in Illinois, but we wanted to continue to monitor what the deer herd was doing over there, so we left all those Reconyx cell cams rolling, really watching Junkie, our #1 target. We wanted to make sure that he made it through the winter months there, and I was able to make it on to spring, and hopefully watch when he dropped those sheds. We were able to go in there and pick him up. I was really excited about that. I mean, shed hunting is one of my favorite things to do. So we saw he dropped one side, I believe it was February 5th, and then he dropped the other side on February 7th. It was time to start walking.
Been walking like 20, I think I'm at 26 miles looking for a particular deer, and I just found one of his sides. He is a tank. Good gosh, that's a big shed. Wow. I'm jacked. Here's our #1 target for next year, deer we call Junkie. Man, he's a stud.
Well, as you can see, was lucky enough to pick up his left side. Absolutely giant shed, one of the biggest I've ever picked up. Was super, super excited just knowing the amount of history we had with the deer and just continuing to build the story. And continued walking. I think I ended up walking about 56 miles over there trying to find the other side. And unfortunately was never able to come up with it, but having one or more piece of the puzzle was pretty special. And going into the 2022 season, he was top of the most wanted list. He was a deer we were gonna do whatever it took, and we were gonna make some changes to how we were hunting him, and we were gonna figure out how to kill Junkie. Well, we went in there the end of January and beginning of February. We started moving some blinds around. We're out here, it's the end of January, and we're already thinking ahead towards September, October, November of next year. Just put this muddy penthouse up behind me right here, right as the sun's setting. It's really pretty out tonight, real calm and clear and cold. We're getting these blinds in here, giving them time to get used to them. And we're putting these blinds in spots where we've watched those Reconyx cell cams the last couple of years, and these deer are really frequenting these areas. So got 3 blinds in here, getting after it here. Deer season fall of 22 is gonna be here before we know it, so got a lot of work to do. We went in and we moved 2 different blinds on spots where we have food plots there, trying to get everything situated to get ready to hunt him in the fall. Well, we're in here today. This is a spot we call the fence gap. There's a big fence that runs down this whole bottom, and there's one gap in it right here, and we get a ton of Reconyx. We got our Reconyx cell cam down there, get a ton of pictures here, and we're building this blind for one particular deer. I came in February and dug these posts, and we've been so wet this spring we haven't been able to get in here and put a blind in. So we're in here today. We're gonna build the floor real quick, and then we're gonna level all this up, and then we're gonna haul a hawk blind in here. We're gonna have to come in from the top, set it in here. It's gonna be a really sweet spot. Really looking forward to sitting in this fall. So it's hot out here, but and sweating our butts off, but it'll be worth it this fall, and we're down in here because it's a really, really sweet spot.
What you thinking so far?
I think it is hot, but hopefully we're in here late October, nice cold front. The deer we're looking for comes walking right down there. Bam, shoot him right in that hole, 24 yards,
Terry's gonna zip him, and it's gonna be a party. Well, I got Chad on the skid steer. We're getting ready to bring this blind down into where we built the platform this morning. So he's got the hawk on skiddy. We're gonna give him a little bit of guidance. It's gonna be a sweet spot come this fall. I'm really looking forward to hunting it. Terry's gonna kill a big one there. Well, as you can see, a little bit sweaty. We busted our butts today. It's like 100 degrees out. The real feels 110. Got 2 blinds up that are gonna be really important this fall. One of our main target deer, he's in both these areas. We got a lot of Reconyx pictures of him.
We're finally able to get in there in June. Ben and Chad and I went over there, got that blind put up, put another blind up on a big alfalfa field there, and I think we're ready to hunt him this fall.
The results are in.
Deer cast was spot on.
Deer cast predicted great.
Great. It was great.
Deer cast says great, get in the woods.
Hunters love DeerCast's exclusive deer movement forecast. Get ahead of your game with DeerCast.
Well, one of the things that was really key to figuring out this deer, figuring out Junkie and trying to kill him, was those Reconyx cell cams. I mean, we absolutely flooded them this year. We went and bought a bunch more and put them out. We had cameras strung all out through that farm trying to get his picture, and sure enough, shows up right there in July. Get a picture of him. We're like, all right, Junkie's alive. He's back. He's growing, and we're gonna get after him this year. Terry and I really attribute a lot of our success over there to those Reconyx cell cams and being able to go back and look at historical data from years prior, as well as the most recent information there, that MRI. Getting pictures of him, and we're able to plan our hunts every day based on where we got pictures of him that day and which direction he was heading. It's such a vast country over there, and all the deer over there walk so much. We had success with decoy buck this year, with Batman, and now this hunt for Junkie. Those were all based on those Reconyx pictures, and that really helped us get ahead of them and make a game plan to hunt those deer. Well, 3 days prior to second shotgun season opening, we got a picture of Junkie on these soybeans, and that was the first one we'd had of him there all year, and we're like, huh, that's interesting. He seemed to kind of shift a little bit. The next night, had another picture of him there, and we're like, huh, there's a little bit of a pattern developing. Typically, he didn't stay in one area very long, so to get 2 pictures of him right in a row there was really good MRI. Well, opening morning, Terry and I, we woke up and we were looking at the Reconyx pictures. We hadn't gotten a picture of him that night, and we were kind of debating where to go, and we said, you know what, it's really cold, crisp, clear. There was a heavy frost that morning, 16 degrees. We said, man, with the way the deer are acting, hopefully when the sun comes up, melts that frost off a little bit, a few deer will get up. Once they get warmed up, eat a few soybeans before going to bed, so let's go try that spot.
Well, here we go, back in Illinois. Second shotgun season opens this morning. I got a muzzleloader tag, so got the Nitrofire in hand, and we're going to sit food this morning. It's real cold. The truck says 17 degrees. There's a heavy frost, so those deer, we don't think they're going to be up right at daylight. Maybe get the sun up, get a little, warm them up a little bit, and then they'll get up and hopefully come out onto these beans. They're in some really tight bedding cover, so hopefully we'll have a good day.
Well, we climbed up in that muddy blind and got in there in the dark, and as the sun rose, just an absolutely glorious morning, and we had the hunt of a lifetime.
coming. Yeah. Just let me know when you're gonna shoot.
Yep. Matt? Matt? Did I hit it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is a giant. That's the biggest deer I've ever shot. Oh. He is a ghost. We've been hunting that deer for 3 years. I've got 4 sheds off of him. Everything we plan over here is for that deer. And we came in, he's been on another section of the farm, and we got a couple pictures of him on these beans. And we said, you know what, let's go there, hunt the food. The wind is perfect. And just put that Nitrofire to work. And I mean, I felt really good about the shot.
You smoked him. I gotta put this camera down. My arm hurts.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord. Let the world know, baby. We just killed Junkie. Yes.
Oh my
yes.
Gosh.
My
Holy crap.
What a standoff. I didn't think he was ever gonna play.
Oh my gosh.
Like, good Lord. He knew we were here. It was like, uh-oh, I don't feel so good. Those 2 guys got a gun in it. That looks like a Traditions muzzleloader. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Beautiful stuff, too. Yeah, baby. You smoked him, too.
Did I?
You want to look at it? Because I'm fairly certain you double-lunged him.
Oh my gosh.
I just told Wayne, I said, I bet Forrest is shaking like crazy.
Oh,
We're both shaking. It's cold this morning.
I was shaking so bad.
Well, we're so happy for you guys. That is awesome. Much deserved for both of you. Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
And we got 10 or 15 minutes of pre-roll of him. It's pretty stuff. Need a little WD-40 on that baby. Tell us where you're going.
Well, we went back, reviewed the shot, and looked at it. It looks like I double lunged him. There's a bunch of blood squirting out of him, so we're gonna climb down, go back and get the tracker, and then give him just a few more minutes, but we're pretty sure he's gonna be down there, so I'm still shaking. I'm jacked up. So.
Could you run through a brick wall?
Yeah, I could run through a couple of them.
We're just gonna go take a look.
Yeah, we're gonna go in. I hit him and we saw blood squirt out there, so we're gonna go take a peek there. We don't think he should be too far, but we're gonna go. We're just gonna ease down there real slow. See him right there.
He's halfway. Holy smokes. Forrest, he's...
God. Oh my goodness. He is a giant.
Oh, that deer's...
Good night. Wow.
Thank you, good Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Traditions Nitrofire. Thank you, Deercast, for saying good this morning. It's a deer that we've been hunting for 3 years, and we finally, this is only the second real encounter we had with him. He just walks and walks and walks and walks. We get him on all kinds of Reconyx cell cams all over the farm, and we always think we're a step ahead of him. We're always 2 steps behind him. And this morning we finally ran into him. Oh my goodness. He's a giant. Wow.
Well, Forrest just killed the largest deer of his life to top off a wonderful season that we've had. So now I'm gonna go get the tracker, the electric vehicle, and try and get it in here as close as I can. Those things have been an absolute game changer for us because we take them in the roughest of terrains where there's no open areas, and I'm gonna back it down here and get as close as I can and try and get that big dog out of here. Can't say enough good things about the tracker. It's been a lifesaver as far as I'm concerned. Thank the good Lord for tracker because it has saved us a tremendous amount of dragging. This thing has been a game changer as far as we're concerned. We've drug out I don't know how many deer, you know, and when you got an electric vehicle and you can get into rough terrain like this and then get a big deer out, by golly, it's worth its weight in gold. So, can't say enough good things about them. We've been driving electric vehicles for 20 years, I guess. This is the single best electric vehicle I've ever set foot in. It is so good that I went ahead and got 2 of them. Yeah, you never know. When Matt comes in or Mark comes in or Wade or somebody, we want to make sure that we've got ample supply. But anyway, best thing on the market right there, that tracker electric vehicle.
Well, we went in there this morning, had that heavy frost on, waiting for it to melt off. Deercast said great, and great it was. We were able to write the final chapter in the story of Junkie. We've been chasing him for 3 years, and he's been winning that chess match. We've absolutely had hundreds of trail cam pictures of him. Those Reconyx trail cam pictures rolling in every day, and we looked at him and looked at him, and we were just never able to get ahead of them. It seems like we were always 2 or 3 steps behind. Well, this morning we went into a spot. We had a couple pictures of them on this soybean plot the last few days. They were after dark, but we thought, you know, with the really cold temperatures, that frost, that heavy frost this morning, and we said, you know what, when that sun comes up, melts that frost off, some of those deer may come out and get a bite to eat before going to lay down. And that's exactly what this deer did. We saw 5 or 6 does and 5 or 6 little bucks, and then Terry said, hey, there's a big deer coming out, and sure enough, there was Junkie, and it was absolutely glorious watching him come out there in that sunlight and feeding those soybeans. He worked his way into about 75 yards, turned, and we stopped him, gave me a broadside shot there with that Nitrofire, and it absolutely put the hammer on him. He went maybe 100 yards and was piled up there in the timber, and the celebration was on. I couldn't be any more lucky to be the one to wrap my tag around him. Thank you, Terry, for letting me shoot him. It's been a special journey chasing this deer, and I couldn't be any more blessed to be the one to be able to tag him. It's my largest deer ever, and I couldn't be more excited.
Well, in closing, not too indifferent from the open. This was the most consumed and obsessed that I've ever been, and Forrest and I have ever been, with one particular animal. I can recall a couple in my history, but this one was as sweet gets. Couldn't be happier for Forrest. What a tremendous deer, tremendous hunt, tremendous story. Now it's on to the next one. I don't know who that might be, but we're going to enjoy this one while we can.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Leupold.